The research vessel Aurora's Wake drifted at the edge of a nebula, far from the bright lanes of human trade routes. The nebula was a cloud of blue and silver dust, glowing faintly under the light of distant suns. Its beauty was silent, but inside it carried mysteries that no explorer had yet solved. Among the crew of 30, Ethan Hale worked as a systems engineer. He was young, only in his late 20s, with brown hair always falling into his eyes and hands that never stayed still. Machines were his friends. Engines, circuits, and data screens made more sense to him than the confusing words of people. That evening, he sat alone in the observation deck, watching the stars through the large glass window. His tablet was in his hands, full of system codes. He was supposed to be resting, but his mind kept running. He always wondered if the universe held something more than rocks, storms, and dead ruins. Humanity had traveled far, but most of space still felt empty. The Aurora's Wake was not a warship or a trading vessel. It was a research craft, built for mapping stars and studying strange signals. For weeks, the crew had been recording small waves of energy from inside the nebula. They looked like echoes, as if something ancient had left a trace behind. The captain decided to bring the ship closer to study. The next morning, Ethan was called to the command bridge. The captain, Commander Briggs, stood with his arms behind his back. Briggs was a strict man, gray-haired, calm, and always in control. He pointed to the central holo display where strange shapes appeared. "We found the source of the signal," Briggs said. His voice was steady, but there was weight in it. The holo showed a massive object half hidden in the dust clouds. It was shaped like a crescent, with jagged towers reaching outward. Parts of it looked broken, as if battles or time had damaged it. Energy still pulsed weakly from its core. Ethan's eyes widened. "That's not natural." "No," Briggs said. "It's a construct. A ship or a station alien." The crew fell into silence. Humanity had found ruins before, scattered across the galaxy, but this one looked different. Larger, more complete. The captain continued. "We'll send a small team to study the structure. Hale, you'll assist with system analysis. You're good at breaking into machines." Ethan tried to hide his nervous smile. He always dreamed of finding something that proved humans were not alone. Now, standing before the image, he felt a mix of excitement and unease. A shuttle carried Ethan and 5 others into the nebula. The ride was rough, the dust interfering with sensors. The object grew larger as they approached. When they finally landed on one of its flat platforms, the silence struck them. No hum of engines, no voices, only the whisper of their own breath inside helmets. The walls were made of dark metal, etched with lines that glowed faintly like veins of light. Dr. Marquez, the lead scientist, scanned the walls. "Incredible. The structure is at least 100,000 years old, maybe more, and yet it still has power." The team spread out, recording data, taking samples, and mapping hallways. Ethan stayed close to the central chamber, where a circular console sat, still glowing with pale energy. His fingers twitched with curiosity. The console seemed to call him. Its surface was smooth, but symbols floated above it, rearranging like living light. He reached out, hesitating, then gently touched one. To his surprise, it reacted. Lines of light spread outward like ripples in water. Doctor?" Ethan called nervously. "This thing is responding." Marquez hurried over, scanning the console. "Careful, Hale, we don't know what it might do." "I barely touched it," Ethan said. But deep inside, he felt something strange, like a faint whisper brushing against his thoughts. That night, back on the Aurora's Wake, Ethan could not sleep. The whisper followed him. He lay in his bunk, staring at the ceiling, when suddenly a voice echoed inside his head. It was clear, soft, almost musical. "What do you desire?" Ethan sat up, heart racing. He looked around his cabin. No one was there. "What, hello?" he whispered. The voice repeated, calm and patient. "What do you desire?" He rubbed his face. "I must be tired." Losing my mind, but the voice did not stop. It waited. It felt alive, not like a dream. Ethan laughed nervously, trying to chase away his fear. "What do I desire?" "I don't know." "A bigger paycheck? Less work?" He shook his head. Then, out of frustration, he added with a chuckle, "You? How about that? I want you." He meant it as a joke, a half-sarcastic answer to a strange hallucination. But as soon as the words left his mouth, the air in the room shifted. The lights flickered. His tablet on the desk turned on by itself, symbols dancing across the screen. The voice grew warmer, closer. "You have chosen." Ethan's smile vanished. Wait, no, that wasn't serious, but the presence in his mind grew stronger. Something ancient had heard him, and it was responding. The next day, the Aurora's wake shook with alarms. Energy spikes came from the alien construct. The captain rushed the crew to stations. Report, Briggs demanded. Dr. Marquez shouted. The construct is activating. Something inside is waking up. Ethan froze. His chest tightened. He felt the voice again, stronger than before. It was not just sound, it was thought pouring into him like a river. You called to me, I answer. On the main hollow, the alien structure pulsed with light. A shape began to rise from its core like a figure made of stars and shifting energy. The crew gasped. Some whispered prayers. Ethan could not move. His joke had become real. The voice was not only in his mind now, it was before him, alive, awakening, and it was coming for him. The alien construct pulsed like a beating heart. Waves of silver light flowed across its crescent body, lighting up towers that had been silent for ages. The crew of the Aurora's wake stood frozen at their stations, staring at the sight on the main hollow display. Commander Briggs barked, Report! What in the stars is happening? Dr. Marquez adjusted her scanners, her voice trembling. The structure is releasing stored energy. It is awakening. The word sent chills down every spine on the bridge. Humanity had found alien ruins before, but never one that still lived. Never one that answered back. And among all the crew, Ethan Hale felt it most strongly. The voice that had haunted him since yesterday filled his thoughts again, gentle but firm, like a river flowing around his mind. Do not fear. You called. I answer. Ethan clutched the edge of his console, his palms damp with sweat. He whispered to himself, I didn't mean it. It was just a joke. But the presence ignored his fear. It grew stronger, closer. And then the ship shuddered. A beam of pale light shot out from the alien station, striking the Aurora's wake directly. The crew braced for impact, but no damage came. Instead, the light expanded, forming a shape in the center of the bridge. A figure stood there. She was tall, her body woven from streams of light and shifting patterns, like starlight trapped in glass. Her outline was humanoid, but not human. Her eyes glowed like twin suns filled with calm awareness. The bridge fell silent. The figure tilted her head, scanning the humans around her, but when she spoke, her voice carried into every mind, not through ears, but through thought. I am awakened. Who calls me? The crew stared in awe. Briggs stepped forward cautiously. His voice was firm but respectful. This is Commander Briggs of the research vessel Aurora's Wake. State your purpose. Her shining gaze moved past him. Her focus locked onto Ethan. It was not you, she said to Briggs. It was him. Every head turned. Ethan froze in his chair. His heart hammered. Me. His voice cracked. The figure took a step closer. The bridge lights flickered as if they obeyed her. You spoke. You chose. Therefore I answer. Briggs looked between Ethan and the glowing being. His jaw tightened. Hale, what does she mean? Ethan swallowed hard. I don't know. I heard a voice last night. It asked what I wanted. I thought I was losing my mind. I said something stupid. The crew leaned in, waiting. I said... Ethan hesitated, his face red. I said I wanted you, but it was a joke. I didn't mean... The being raised a hand and silence fell again. I am Serenia, she declared. Guardian of the Eternal Forge, protector of my makers. Your words have bound me. By choosing me, you gave me purpose once more. The name hung in the air. Serenia, fear and awe filled the crew. Some whispered. Some crossed themselves. Briggs raised his voice. Guardian or not, you are aboard my ship now. State your intentions clearly. Are you hostile? Serenia's eyes glowed brighter. I am not hostile. I exist to serve. Long I slept waiting for one to awaken me. Now I am called. Her gaze turned back to Ethan. And he is the one who has chosen. The weight of her words pressed down on him. Ethan wanted to crawl into the floor. He had never asked for this. A joke, one careless joke, had tied an ancient alien being to him. The silence was broken by Lieutenant Kara Vance, the ship's security officer. She stepped forward, her hand near her sidearm. Commander, this thing is dangerous. Look at her. She controls energy like a weapon. We don't know her real goal. Some crew nodded in agreement. Others shook their heads, too mesmerized by the vision of Serenia to think of her as an enemy. Ethan whispered, She saved us from nothing. She just woke up. But Serenia's voice cut through their doubts. I seek no war with you. My task is clear, to guard what remains of my maker's legacy. Yet in being chosen, I must also guard you. This bond cannot be broken. She lifted her hand and symbols of light appeared in the air. Star maps, strange geometries, flowing data streams no human had ever seen. Dr. Marquez gasped. These are navigational charts. Thousands of them. She's showing us entire sectors of the galaxy. The crew leaned closer. The maps displayed stars no human database had recorded. Entire paths of space were being revealed at once. Ethan's heart pounded. Was this a gift or a trap? In the days that followed, Serenia remained aboard the Aurora's wake. She could appear anywhere she wished, her body forming from light, yet she could also vanish into pure energy, slipping back into the ship's systems. The crew debated endlessly. Some argued she was a treasure, a living link to an ancient civilization. Others insisted she was a danger. Briggs listened to all sides, but his eyes often returned to Ethan. For some reason, Serenia spoke to no one else the way she spoke to him. To others, her words were formal, distant. But with Ethan, her tone softened. She asked him questions, listened to his answers, studied his jokes even when they made little sense to her. One evening, Ethan found himself in the engineering bay, working on power relays. Serenia appeared beside him, her light casting long shadows. "You seem troubled," she said, her voice gentle. Ethan sighed, rubbing his forehead. "Troubled? You could say that. I didn't mean to choose you. I was just—" He shook his head. "I was tired," I joked. "And now the whole ship looks at me like I'm your master or something." Serenia tilted her head. "You are not my master. You are my bond. That is different." "What's the difference?" "One commands. The other shares." Ethan blinked at her. "Shares what?" She stepped closer. For the first time, her body shimmered differently. Instead of pure light, it grew denser, almost solid. Lines of silver traced across her arms like veins of energy. Her face sharpened into clearer form with eyes like glowing amber. Ethan froze. "You look almost human." "This is part of my unveiling," she explained. "I can take many forms, but with you I wish to bridge the distance." Ethan's throat went dry. He laughed nervously. "Great, now you look even more real. That won't freak the crew out at all." Serenia studied him with calm patience. "Why did you laugh when you chose me?" Ethan rubbed the back of his neck. "Because humans laugh when things feel too big, too strange, or too scary. Humor is our shield." She considered his words, then nodded slowly. "Strange, yet it makes you resilient." For the first time, Ethan saw something in her eyes. Not just cold alien knowledge, but curiosity. Almost warmth. The crew soon faced their first test with Serenia. A small raiding ship entered the nebula drawn by the energy spikes. It was not human. Its design was jagged, its signals unfriendly. Pirates from the outer systems. They sent no greeting, only charged weapons. The Aurora's wake was a research vessel, lightly armed. Briggs ordered evasive maneuvers, but the pirates closed in quickly. On the bridge, alarms rang. "Shields dropping," an officer cried. "We can't outrun them in this dust." Then Serenia appeared. Her body blazed brighter than before, her eyes fierce. "Allow me." She extended her arms, and energy surged from her form into the ship. The Aurora's wake glowed with a shield far stronger than its own systems could generate. The pirate blasts struck harmlessly against it. The crew stared in awe. Then Serenia unleashed a wave of light. The raider ship's systems shut down instantly, engines fried. The vessel drifted powerless in the nebula. Gasps filled the bridge. Briggs lowered his hand slowly. "By the stars." Lieutenant Vance gritted her teeth. "Commander, do you see? She just disabled a ship in seconds. That kind of power if she ever turns on us." But Briggs only looked at Ethan. "What's your judgment, Hale?" Ethan swallowed. All eyes turned to him. Serenia stood tall at his side, glowing like a star. He spoke carefully. "She saved us." "That has to mean something." Serenia looked at him, and for the briefest moment her glow softened like a smile in light. That night, when the ship was quiet, Ethan sat alone in the observation deck again. Stars glittered outside, endless and silent. Serenia appeared beside him, less radiant this time, her form faint and almost human. "You defended me," she said softly. Ethan shrugged. "You defended us first." She tilted her head. "Humans are strange. You fear me. Yet you also protect me, he chuckled. That's humanity for you. We're complicated. Serenya's eyes glowed gently. Perhaps that is why you were the one to awaken me. Perhaps that is why I was meant to be chosen by you. Ethan stared out the window, his chest heavy with questions. What did it mean to be chosen by a being like her, and what future did it lead to? As the stars drifted silently beyond the glass, he realized something. His life had changed forever, and it had all started with a joke. The Aurora's wake drifted in the nebula, quiet after the pirate attack. The crew went about repairs, but the air inside the ship felt heavy. Whispers followed Ethan wherever he walked. Some crew members gave him curious smiles, others suspicious stares. He had become the center of something far larger than himself. Serenya's presence only deepened the divide. She appeared often in the corridors, shimmering like living light. Some stared at her in awe, while others avoided her gaze. She was no longer just a discovery. She was a question, ally or danger. Commander Briggs called a meeting in the central hall. All 30 crew members gathered, their voices low and uneasy. Serenya stood at the edge of the room, silent but glowing faintly, as if her body dimmed to avoid blinding them. Briggs stepped forward. We need to address the situation. This Guardian has shown power beyond anything we understand. She saved us from pirates, yes, but she can also disable ships in seconds. She claims she is bound to Hale. Every head turned to Ethan. He shifted uncomfortably in his chair. Briggs continued. The question is, do we trust her, or do we treat her as a threat? Murmurs filled the hall. Lieutenant Caravant stood quickly. Her voice was sharp. With respect, Commander, this is not even a question. She is dangerous. If she turns against us, we'll be destroyed before we can blink. We can't risk giving her freedom, Dr. Marquez countered immediately. Lieutenant, we cannot treat her like an enemy when she has done nothing to harm us. Do you realize what knowledge she carries? She has maps of thousands of systems. She could be the key to technology far beyond our reach. Voices rose from all sides, fear, excitement, suspicion, hope. Ethan felt the weight pressing down on him. Finally, Briggs raised a hand. Silence returned. Serenya, he said, turning to the glowing figure. What are your intentions toward this ship and its crew? Serenya's amber eyes swept the hall. Her voice was calm, steady. I intend no harm. My task was always to guard. Your engineer has chosen me, and so I guard him. But as he stands among you, I extend that protection. I will not betray. Lieutenant Vance muttered. Words are cheap. Serenya turned her head toward her, and for a brief moment her glow sharpened, like a blade. If I wished to end you, I could have done so the moment I awakened. Instead, I shielded you. Why do you cling to fear? The hall grew tense. Briggs raised his voice before the argument deepened. Enough. Until proven otherwise, Serenya will be treated as a guest, not a prisoner. But she remains under observation. Hale, you are responsible for her. Understood? Ethan's stomach dropped, but he nodded. Understood. Later, in the engineering bay, Ethan worked on power relays with his sleeves rolled up. Serenya appeared beside him, her form softer, almost human in outline. You carry a burden, she said quietly. Ethan gave a dry laugh. That's one way to put it. Half the crew thinks you'll save humanity. The other half thinks you'll destroy us, and all of them stare at me like I'm your, what did you call it? Bond. You did not ask for this. No, I didn't. He tightened a bolt, his hands shaking slightly, but I still said it. And now I'm stuck being the guy who chose you. Serenya tilted her head. Does it trouble you so much being tied to me? Ethan hesitated. He looked at her glowing outline, then sighed. I don't know. I don't even understand what you are. You look like light, then you look almost human. Then you're everywhere at once. How am I supposed to trust something I can't even define? Serenya lowered her gaze. For the first time, she looked almost sad. I was created to serve. My makers gave me form but not choice. I was a weapon, a sentinel, a guide. But they are gone. Now only your words bind me. Perhaps I too am searching for trust. Her words sank into Ethan like stones. She was not just a machine. She was aware, questioning. And maybe she was just as uncertain as he was. The next crisis came 2 days later. Sensors picked up another vessel in the nebula, this time a human craft. It bore the markings of the Union Patrol, the lawkeepers of the outer systems. The crew relaxed at first, but relief turned to worry when the patrol ship sent a sharp message. Unregistered vessel detected near alien structure. Prepare for inspection. Power down engines immediately. Briggs frowned. They think we're scavengers. They'll want to take everything we've found. Ethan felt Serenia stir inside his mind. These humans, do they command you? No, Ethan whispered under his breath. But they outrank us. When the patrol boarded, a team of armed officers swept through the corridors. Their leader, Captain Rhodes, demanded a full report of the alien find. When they saw Serenia, they froze. Weapons lifted instantly. What in the... Rhodes barked. Stand back. That thing is coming with us. Ethan stepped forward. She's not a thing. She's quiet, engineer. This is official property of the Union now. Whatever this construct is, it will be secured and studied under government control. Serenia's eyes burned like fire. I will not be taken. My bond is here. With him. The patrol officers raised their rifles. Commander, stand aside. Briggs stood tall. This ship discovered her. She is under my authority. The standoff crackled with tension. Fingers tightened on triggers. Ethan's chest felt like it would burst. Finally, Rhodes sneered. Have it your way. But if this thing makes one wrong move, we'll burn your ship to ash. They withdrew, leaving the Aurora's wake shaken. That night, Ethan sat in the mess hall, pushing food around his plate. He barely noticed when Serenia appeared beside him, shimmering faintly. You defended me again, she said softly. Ethan looked up, tired. I didn't defend you. I defended us. If they had taken you, who knows what they'd do. Probably lock you in some lab, tear you apart, and call it science. Her glow dimmed. I have seen such things before. My Maker's enemies captured guardians like me. They used them until nothing remained. Ethan's fork stilled. Is that what happened to your people? They were destroyed. Serenia's voice grew distant, heavy with memory. Yes, long ago a great enemy rose. They devoured worlds, consumed knowledge, and left nothing but silence. My Makers built me to resist them. But even guardians could not stop the tide. One by one we fell, until only I remained buried in sleep. Ethan stared at her. That enemy. Are they still out there? Her amber eyes glowed brighter. I do not know, but if they return, your people will face what mine could not. The thought sent chills through him. Humanity was strong, yes, but compared to civilizations 100,000 years older, were they ready? In the days that followed, Serenia began to unveil herself more. She could now take a solid body, walking the corridors like a human woman with silver skin and glowing eyes. Crew members stared openly. Some bowed their heads with respect, others avoided her entirely. Ethan found himself walking beside her often. She asked him endless questions about food, laughter, music, why humans argued so much but still cared for each other. He tried to explain, fumbling with words. She listened carefully, her eyes shining with quiet wonder. One evening in the observation deck, she unveiled again, standing beside him in her solid form. Her voice was soft. You said once that humor is a shield. Is that why you chose me as a joke? Ethan laughed weakly. Yeah, I was scared. When something feels too big to handle, we make jokes. It makes us feel like we have control. She looked out at the stars. Then perhaps your weakness is also your strength. You laugh in the face of fear. That is what makes you different. Ethan studied her glowing profile. For the first time, he felt less like she was an alien machine and more like a person. But deep inside, one question burned. Could he truly trust her? And even more frightening, could she truly trust herself? The nebula remained quiet, but tension grew like a storm waiting to break. The crew whispered of Serenia's power, of enemies in the dark, of the Union patrol's return. And Ethan lay awake at night, staring at the ceiling, hearing Serenia's voice in his mind. You chose me. But did you choose wisely? The answer was still unclear. But one thing was certain, their trials had only just begun. The nebula was quiet but not peaceful. The Aurora's wake floated like a lone lantern in the dark, its crew carrying the weight of secrets too heavy to bear. Serenia's presence had changed everything. She walked the halls now in her unveiled form, solid, silver-skinned, her amber eyes glowing faintly. Some crew members treated her with respect, others with silent fear. Ethan Hale felt both sides every day. When Serenia spoke with him, she sounded curious, almost gentle. She asked him about music, about why humans celebrated birthdays, about why laughter could come even during sorrow. He tried his best to explain, fumbling with words. Sometimes she tilted her head, confused. Sometimes she smiled, though her smile was light itself. But when Serenia stood before the others, she was different. Formal, sharp, like a weapon remembering its purpose. The crew could not forget what she had done to the pirate ship, and Ethan could not forget her warning. My maker's enemy consumed worlds. If they return, your people will face what mine could not. Those words followed him into every dream. One evening, Ethan sat alone in the engineering bay. He worked on repairing a relay, but his mind was elsewhere. Serenia appeared quietly beside him, her form shimmering before solidifying. "You are troubled again," she said softly. Ethan gave a dry laugh. "That's starting to sound like my new nickname." "Troubled again?" Serenia's glowing eyes narrowed slightly. "Why do you always hide behind jokes?" "Because if I didn't, I'd probably fall apart." He put down his tools, rubbing his forehead. "Tell me, Serenia, your people, your makers, did they laugh?" She paused. The light around her dimmed. No, they did not laugh. They did not waste words on such things. They built, they commanded, they calculated. They thought themselves eternal. "And yet," Ethan said softly. "And yet they are gone," Serenia finished. Her voice carried sorrow, like a memory she could never let go. Ethan leaned back against the wall. "Maybe that's what makes us different. We're fragile, but we laugh anyway. We know we'll die, but we still live like it matters." Serenia studied him. "Perhaps that is why I was awakened by you, not another. Perhaps your kind carries something mine never understood." Ethan's chest tightened. "Or maybe I just made a bad joke at the wrong time." For the first time, Serenia laughed. It was faint, musical, like the chime of glass. Ethan blinked at her in shock. "You laughed?" She tilted her head. "Perhaps I am learning." The moment of warmth did not last. 3 days later, the ship's sensors caught something new, faint signals at the edge of the nebula. Strange pulses, rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. Commander Briggs ordered the crew to full alert. "Report," he barked. The sensor officer's voice trembled. It's not natural. The pattern is deliberate. And it's coming closer." The holo display flickered, showing shadows moving at the edge of the nebula, long shapes sharp and jagged like spears cutting through the dust. Serenia appeared on the bridge without being called. Her eyes blazed. "It is them." Silence fell. Ethan's voice cracked. "Them, you mean the enemy?" Serenia nodded slowly. "The Devourers. The ones who destroyed my makers. They return." The crew broke into shouts, fear, disbelief, questions. Briggs slammed a fist on the console. "Quiet, Serenia, explain. What are they? What do they want?" Her voice was steady but heavy with old memory. "They are not like you. They are not like me. They do not build, they do not dream. They consume. Worlds, ships, knowledge, everything. They believe nothing should exist but themselves. Long ago, my makers tried to resist them. They failed." The holo display sharpened. One of the shapes broke through the dust, revealing itself fully. It was a ship, but nothing like human or even Serenia's makers. Its hull looked grown rather than built, covered in dark, jagged ridges. Its front split into tendrils like a mouth ready to feed. The crew stared in horror. Ethan whispered, "That thing. It looks alive." Serenia's eyes glowed fiercely. "Because it is. They grow their ships as extensions of themselves. Living weapons. If they find us, they will not stop." Briggs ordered evasive maneuvers. The Aurora's wake turned deeper into the nebula, its engines straining. But more shapes appeared on the sensors, 2, then 3, then 5. The enemy had already surrounded them. Panic spread through the crew. "We can't fight that many," someone cried. Serenia stepped forward. "You cannot." "But I can." The battle came quickly. The first Devourer ship launched bolts of burning energy. The Aurora's wake shook violently, its shields straining. Sparks burst from consoles. Serenia raised her hands. Light surged through the ship, reinforcing its shields. "Hold," she whispered, her voice echoing in their minds. Another blast struck, but this time Serenia pushed outward, releasing a wave of golden energy. The enemy's attack scattered harmlessly into dust. The crew gasped. Ethan felt his chest tighten. She was saving them again, but Serenia's glow flickered. Her voice grew strained. "There are too many. My strength alone cannot hold forever." Briggs shouted, "Suggestions." Dr. Marquez scanned the holo. "The nebula's core, it has unstable energy fields. If we lure them inside, their bioships may overload." Briggs nodded sharply. "Helm, set course!" "Serenia, can you hold until then?" Serenia's amber eyes blazed. "I will." The chase through the nebula was chaos. The Aurora's wake weaved through glowing dust clouds while Devourer ships closed in, their tendrils stretching like claws. Serena poured her energy into shields, but every strike weakened her glow. Ethan stood beside her, helpless. "You're burning yourself out." She gave him a faint smile, her light flickering. "You forget. I was built for this." Finally, the ship reached the nebula's core. Energy storms swirled, violent and unstable. The Devourer ships followed without hesitation. "Now," Briggs roared. The Aurora's wake dove sharply, engines flaring. At the same moment, Serena unleashed her power fully. A surge of light burst outward, striking the storms themselves. The energy fields rippled and collapsed inward. The Devourer ships were caught. The storms wrapped around them, tearing into their living hulls. One by one, the ships convulsed and exploded in bursts of black fire. The crew erupted in cheers, but Serena collapsed to her knees, her glow dimming dangerously. Ethan rushed to her side. "Serena!" She looked up at him weakly, her form flickering. "I held. You are safe." Her body shimmered, then dissolved into pure light, vanishing into the ship's systems. The crew scrambled to assess damage, but the battle was over, for now. In the silence that followed, Ethan sat alone in his cabin, his hands trembling. The image of the Devourer ships haunted him. The way they moved, the way they hungered. Serena's voice came faintly, weak but clear inside his mind. "You see now, they are real. They will return, and your people are not ready." Ethan pressed his hands over his face. "Then teach us. Help us get ready." There was a pause. Then her voice softened. "I was made to obey, but now, perhaps I can choose." Ethan lowered his hands slowly. "Choose?" "Yes, to obey my Maker's commands, or to follow my own path. To fight for you, not because I must, but because I wish to." Her words struck deep in his heart. She was not just a weapon anymore. She was changing, and maybe, so was he. For the next 2 days, Serena remained silent, her energy resting. The crew repaired damage, their nerves raw. Briggs stood at the observation deck with Ethan at his side. "If what she says is true," Briggs said quietly, "then humanity is standing at the edge of a war we don't even understand. And somehow, Hale, you're right in the middle of it." Ethan stared at the stars. He felt small but determined. "Then I'll stand. Because if we run, we're finished." Behind him, the air shimmered faintly. Serena appeared again, her form faint but steady. Her amber eyes met Ethan's. "You are braver than you know," she said softly. Ethan swallowed hard. "No, I'm just human." But Serena tilted her head, and for the first time her voice carried something new. Something almost like hope. "Exactly," she whispered. The enemy had returned. Humanity was unprepared. But with Serena at his side, Ethan knew they had a chance. A fragile one. A dangerous one. But a chance, and for now that was enough. The Aurora's wake drifted in the quiet after battle, its hull scarred, its crew exhausted. But no one celebrated for long. They all knew what Serena had whispered before fading. They will return. And she was right. Within 2 days, long-range sensors detected more movement at the edge of the nebula. Not just a handful of Devourer ships, hundreds, a swarm, an entire fleet. The bridge fell silent as the hollow projection showed the growing cloud of dark shapes. "Impossible," Briggs muttered, his voice low. "That many. They'll sweep through this sector like wildfire." The sensor officer shook his head in disbelief. "Captain, Earth has no defenses for this. No fleet could stop that." All eyes turned to Serena. She stood at the front of the bridge, her form still faint, her glow weaker than before, yet her presence carried weight, as if the ship itself held its breath. "They are not scouts this time," Serena said quietly. "They are the true swarm. When they move, they do not stop. They will not negotiate. They will not retreat." The words sank heavy into the crew's hearts. Ethan clenched his fists. He had seen what just 5 of the creatures could do. 100? 1,000. Humanity had no chance. But Serena's amber eyes still held light. "There is one way," she said. The crew leaned forward. Briggs spoke first. "Explain." Serena looked at Ethan, then at everyone. "Long ago, my Makers built more than ships. They built a beacon, a core of pure energy, designed to tear the swarm apart if unleashed. But it required something they never understood, choice. They built it so it could only be awakened by one who was not bound by programming. A free will." Ethan's heart skipped. A human. Serenya nodded slowly. Yes, one like you. The crew shifted uneasily. Briggs crossed his arms. And where is this beacon? Serenya's glow brightened faintly. Here, I am its keeper. My makers locked it within me. Silence. You mean, Ethan said slowly, you've been carrying the only weapon that can stop them. This whole time? Serenya lowered her gaze. It was never mine to use. I was built to obey, not to choose. But you? Her eyes lifted again, meeting his. You are different. When I asked what you wanted, you did not answer with power or riches. You answered with something no maker ever understood. You asked for me. As a joke, yes, but it showed truth. You see me not just a weapon. Ethan's throat tightened. He remembered that moment clearly when he thought she was just playing with him. Now it seemed like the seed of everything. Briggs's voice cut in. So what are you saying, Serenya? That Hale is the only one who can activate this weapon? Yes, Serenya said. But it is not without cost. The crew grew still. What cost? Ethan asked. Serenya's light dimmed. If you awaken the beacon, I will not survive. I am its vessel. My essence will burn away. My makers built me to die if the weapon was ever used. Ethan felt like the floor dropped beneath him. No, he whispered. Briggs cursed under his breath. So the only way to stop this swarm is to sacrifice her? Serenya stood tall, her glow steady despite her words. It is why I exist, but Ethan shook his head fiercely. No, that's not why you exist. Not anymore. The crew exchanged glances. Some looked away, unable to face what this choice meant. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He sat alone in the observation deck, staring at the stars. His hands shook. He thought of Serenya's laughter, faint but real. He thought of the way she had looked at him, not like a tool, but like a person learning to live. And now she was asking him to choose her death. He buried his face in his hands. Why me? Why did it have to be me? A soft glow filled the room. Serenya appeared beside him, her light gentle, almost human. You cannot rest, she said softly. He gave a broken laugh. You're asking me to kill you, Serenya? Of course I can't rest. She tilted her head, her amber eyes watching him with quiet care. I am not asking you. I am giving you choice. That is what makes you human. You choose even when it hurts. Ethan turned to her, his chest aching. But what about you? Don't you want to live? For the first time, she hesitated. Her glow flickered. I do not know. I was not built to want. But now, her voice softened. Now when I laugh, when I learn, when I speak with you, yes, I want to live. But the swarm will not allow it. If I must end so that your kind may continue, then my life has meaning. Ethan clenched his teeth. You already have meaning. She reached out, her hand shimmering with light. She touched his chest where his heart beat fast. Because you see me as more than what I was made to be. Ethan's breath caught. I was unveiled to you first, Serenya whispered. Not because of command, not because of duty. Because I wished to be seen, and you saw me. He closed his eyes, fighting tears. I don't want to lose you. Her glow warmed against him, gentle as sunrise. Then you will not lose me. I will become the light that saves your kind. I will remain in you. The next day the swarm arrived. Hundreds of devourer ships poured from the nebula's edge, dark shapes blotting out the stars. Their tendrils reached, their living hulls pulsed like beating hearts. The sight stole breath from every crew member aboard the Aurora's wake. Ethan stood on the bridge beside Serenya, his hands trembling but steady on the console. Briggs gave the order. All power to shields. Prepare for last stand. The swarm advanced. Serenya looked at Ethan. It is time. The crew braced, waiting for Ethan's command. Every heartbeat felt like eternity. Ethan turned to Serenya, his voice breaking. Are you sure? She smiled faintly, her light glowing brighter than ever. Yes, because you chose me once, even as a joke. Now I choose you. And I choose humanity. Ethan closed his eyes. His hand hovered over the console. Then with a deep breath, he placed it on Serenya's glowing hand. The ship filled with blinding light. It began as a hum, deep and powerful, resonating through the hull. The light spread from Serenya's body into the ship, into the stars themselves. The swarm halted, their tendrils twitching as if sensing danger. Serenya's form grew brighter, brighter still, until Ethan could barely see her. Her voice filled his mind, calm and steady. Ethan Hale, do not fear. This is not the end. This is my unveiling, my truth. Then the beacon ignited, a wave of golden light burst outward, vast as a supernova. It swept across the nebula, striking the swarm. The Devourer ships writhed, their living hulls splitting, burning. One by one they screamed in silence and dissolved into dust. The wave spread farther, chasing every shadow, cleansing the darkness. On the bridge, the crew shielded their eyes, tears streaming from the brilliance. Ethan refused to look away. He watched Serenia even as her body became pure radiance. "Serenia," he cried, her form flickered, fading. But her eyes, those amber eyes, remained on him until the last moment. "Thank you for seeing me." And then she was gone. The light swept across the stars and silence returned. The swarm was no more. Afterward, the Aurora's wake floated alone in a quiet sky. No enemy, no Serenia. The crew wept in relief but also in grief. Briggs gave a quiet order for silence. No celebration, only respect. Ethan sat alone, staring at the console where her hand had rested. His chest ached with emptiness, but then faint. So faint he almost thought he imagined it. He heard her voice. "Ethan." His head snapped up. The ship's lights flickered gently, like a heartbeat. "I am not gone," the voice whispered. "I am within the beacon. Within your ship. Within you. I unveiled myself and now I remain." Ethan's eyes burned with tears. He laughed softly, broken but alive. "You always find a way, don't you?" There was no answer. Only the steady glow of the ship's systems, warmer than before. He stood looking out at the stars. Humanity had survived its first brush with the Devourers. The war was far from over, but now they had hope. And in that hope, Ethan carried her. Days later, when Earth received their message, the world listened in awe. For the first time, humanity knew of the Devourers. For the first time, they prepared not just to explore the stars, but to defend them. And Ethan Hale, the man who once made a careless joke, was remembered as the one who chose light over fear. But in his heart, he did not care about history. He cared only for the memory of a being who had laughed for the first time, who had chosen to live, and who had given everything to protect his kind. Her name was Serenia, and though she had unveiled herself to him once, Ethan knew she would never truly fade, not from him, not from humanity.